Today I am going to be talking about the missing 411, and also I am going to be explaining the forces behind it. Unfortunately, I was planning to use some footage from David Paladis from Thunderbolts Project, but his stuff is copyright, and therefore I respect that. I am not going to use any of his footage. I am not going to. I understand him. I know that some people on YouTube, they are skimming stuff. They are not really honest. They are taking other people's work and then they capitalize on that. I absolutely understand that. Before I continue, I want to tell you something else. Before I was closing the video, the last video about it's not sun, I was telling you about the those clouds. So I want to explain those three clouds. Long time ago, I already knew that when the polar reversal is going to happen, we are going to be divided into main three groups. So those clouds, they are representing those three main groups. You do understand that everything starts as a concept and unfolds through all the fields of possibilities until you reach the physical reality. So, as I was explaining, there is no alien group from some outer space coming here and waiting in our space. It's just simply those three main energy patterns. They slow down, they unfolded closer to the physical, and they are going to be waiting here to pick up everybody else. You know the Tesla 369 frequency or code or whatever. So there are three clouds. There are 9 clouds, the smaller ones. And when we divide all the 9 clouds into the 3 different ones, so in each 3 smaller clouds are going to be fitting into each one of the bigger ones. So let me explain what each one of those clouds is. The cloud A is going to be extension of this frequency, of this band that we are right now in. All of the frequency is going to be lower than is right now. So there is going to be continuity with whatever we extend. The second group, group B, is ascending to the times or conditions that we used to have pre-Aztec, pre-Mayan times. And I am part of that, so we are leading towards that, and some of you watching this as well. Although the group that is going to go there is much smaller than I was hoping for. And then there is the group C. We are right now in the middle of the third stage of living, or because every human is going through all those 3 stages of life. And we are in the middle of the third one. We start at 1, then there is the second, and then there is the third one. And they also are divided into 3. So we are right now in the middle, and the C is going to the bottom of 3. And that's where the project ends. That's it. There is no below. So the conditions in that group they are very you would say negative, but there are so many beings that want to experience that, so that's for them. Then the middle group is moving into the conditions which is going to be extended, also declining to stage 3 to the bottom, so that is also ending. That's it. So next polar reversal, we have a major change. Cycle 108 is ending, 12,000 is ending, 250,000 is ending, and a couple of millions, I don't remember exactly the number, but all are ending at the same time. This is a major blast, major on a galactic scale. in all those missing cases, most of them can be prevented with a simple device. I was trying to bring that to attention of David Paladis and Steve from How to Hunt. I actually sent email to him. He blew me off. Well, that's fine, I understand. I don't have fancy PhD. I don't have all the degrees. I don't have 1 million followers. I have only 36 degrees, all Celsius. Apparently, they are the wrong one. You need a different one. If it comes to Paladis, I was trying to, through comments, trying to get to his attention that there are certain things that can be done, and or he should look into certain patterns if it comes to solar activity, but he just ignored me. So I understand him. Like, I mean, there is no hard feeling for both guys. However, if it comes to Steve, deal is off. I am not going to talk with him. There are too many red flags with his channel and with him, the way he's conducting those his channel. If he, for example, one of the main keys with me is if he was showing at least snapshot of one of the emails that he's reading, people would have a little bit more respect for him, but that's not going to happen. If it comes to Paladis, I think he has a pretty good idea what the causes of the disappearances are. However, he's not saying that loud. He is simply indicating the way he speaks what that might be. Usually when he's talking about younger people around 25, that's when he articulates this to, oh, you see, this is very unusual, this is 25, this is 25, there you have this education. This implies something, but that's partially incorrect. The age is important because there is another principle involved in this. I am going to be explaining that in a minute. I show you the email that I sent it to Steve, because I was trying to communicate to him, since both guys, they are claiming that they have connections with scientists and people in different circles. So I was thinking, you know what, I was asked actually to contact someone who is working in that field or researching that field to develop a small device that can prevent those disappearances, that can help people going hiking or mountain climbing or just going out into those forests to be aware, to get the, some kind of notification, beep or something, alerting them that they are in danger zone. It's a very straightforward device. If you are one of those guys that has knowledge in electrical engineering or electronic devices, I can give you more details. Just send me an email, no problem. I am going to tell you right now, this is a non-conventional small device. You are wearing this as a bracelet on your wrist. It can has 3 functions. I'm going to tell you only one. One function is that you don't require any batteries. You can take, right now when you go in hiking, one of the cheap EMFs is going to do the job, except for one thing. When you find yourself in the magnetic distortion, the battery is going to be drained within seconds, so it's going to be useless. But with the non-conventional, it actually, the magnetic force, the distortion that you are in, it's charging that. So it's not only going to give you the signal that you are in the danger zone, but also there is another function that can help you get out from there. There are other measures that they can help you when you find yourself in that situation to do something which was done for like thousands of years. People know about that. They were taking preventive steps. I will explain that in a minute. So if you are interested in that, is, because there is one more component that goes into that that needs explanation. It's the way the scanner works, the way it picks the signal. All right? To better understand today's topic, we need to be equipped with certain facts, know certain facts about, for example, our existence, our universe is very electric. This is something that you need to know, otherwise some of the explanations they will have will make no sense. To understand that, I will provide the links below the video where you can go and see from the playlist from Thunderbolts Project why the electric is universe, why the universe is electric. There is explanation, very clever done, very simply explained, so anybody can understand why this is like that. We also know that our body is electric from, let's say, Dr. Tennant, voltage is healing. You do understand that our cells work on the principle of electrical flow. We need a specific voltage in the cell for the cell to work at the optimum level. Within every single cell we have DNA, which is antenna, which looks like a toroid. When you slice the DNA across, it looks like a toroid. So the DNA is picking electromagnetic signals, impulses, and the cell is processing the electrical forces. So this is a very sophisticated part. One thing is also missed in all those scientific researchers, that when you line up the cells in a specific way, you can generate a lot of electricity, which I was showing in a few videos before, where I was showing you clips from the masters that they ignite a piece of paper and sawdust and stuff like that. We have much greater abilities than just starting a fire with a piece of paper. But this is something that not many people do know or understand. And it's time to just, what I'm saying to you right now, it's still being treated like a witchcraft or some BS or just hallucinations, or many people told me you are delusional and crazy guy. But this is coming to an end now. As I said, in the second half of this year and the early next year, the advances, the science is more and more accepting that fact. The science is already, our science is in crisis, basically. And they are looking for a way out of this. Because whatever theories they had, they don't work. They don't serve them anymore. The money-driven business of scientific discoveries is not working anymore. So it is time to change the approach. And besides, money is no longer going to be an issue sometimes in the future, because money will be just gone. You do know from studies like from 1920 already that when you expose human to radio frequencies, EMFs, our cognitive behavior change. Depends on the frequency. This was done with the HARP project. This was done with in military with different lower frequencies where people really were going freaked out, which they were behaving in ways that no one could explain. So you do understand that when you find yourself in a very strong magnetic distortion that affects your physical body, every single cell in your body, but also affects the computer, your brain. We know from a scientific research that our brain has 11 dimensions. I don't like the word dimension. What they are talking, they are patterns by which the brain is processing the information, and one of those layers of that or dimension is dealing with when you are born, the first moments when you come out, and the last one, and there is another one that is dealing only when you are dying. It is the moment when the brain is releasing the DMT or whatever chemicals to your brain, so you are euphoric, so you don't feel afraid, you don't feel scared, you are dying happy. It is happening less and less because of the pollution, medical, over-counter medicines, all the chemicals that you have in the food, the chemicals that you use to wash your clothes, deodorants, everything in the air. So it's less and less and less. More and more people are confused. Therefore, the bubble where they gather when you die, you don't go the full transition. You simply temporarily you find yourself in between. You didn't accelerate faster enough or higher enough to go back where you're supposed to go, and that bubble is growing bigger and bigger. There are actually a whole society is already there. There are millions of those guys earthbound. They just hanging around, and that's why when the solar nova is going to happen, it's just going to remove that. It doesn't not mean that they are going to be destroyed and that's it. They are going to simply be aware of what is happening because the energy is going to accelerate, and then they will realize that they are not just monkeys or confused beings, that they are something much, much greater than that. Now I want to tell you something. I'm going to leave links below the video about one of the cases that Paladis is talking on his channel. It's a letter from a gentleman who's supposed to be working. He's supposed to be on the force or retired policeman or something like that. When he's sharing his personal experience, where he was supposed to go to a campsite where his friends were already there. He was supposed to go there after work, and he did that in the evening. And when he was going there, as soon as he crossed one of the fences leading to that, he noticed that he suddenly was feeling very strange, that there was a pressure in his ears. Even though once he jumped over the fence, he was walking by the river, by the stream. He couldn't hear any sounds of that. But he noticed that there were here and there cracks of breaking twigs. So at some point he got anxious, and he starts running faster and faster. One thing though, he noticed that the ground was softer than usual. And to his surprise, he was almost certain that someone is following him. When he turned around, he noticed that the grass behind him was whooshing, like someone really was walking behind him. But that was not the case. There was no one behind him. He couldn't see anybody. But at some point he saw that the grass was indented, and the grass twisted. And he eventually gave up on. When he got to the spot where the friends were supposed to be, there was no one there. There was quiet. But at some point his ears popped up, so he went back home, and then he called his friends and he explained the whole situation. They said, "What are you talking about? We were there. We were waiting for you. We were at the camp." So recap the whole thing. After this, go and watch the video. You will have more details than I am, because I am skipping a lot. So we do know this is a fact, scientific fact, that Earth has connection with other planets through so-called filaments. Those filaments are nothing more than some form of Birkeland currents flowing between those bodies. On Earth, it's happening on a smaller scale, between trees, cliffs, rivers, underground, because especially those things are happening around mountains where there is a lot of granite, because granite is a great not only conductor, as an electric conductor, but it also generates a lot of electricity. Flowing rivers or streams generate a lot of electricity. And those places, once they generate that much, or more than they need, they are looking for transfer that energy somewhere, so they have those connections, the filaments, the coupling between other things like trees, cliffs and rivers and humans, wherever they can find the outlet to just let the energy go. So the same thing was happening with this gentleman. When he was jumping off the fence, somehow he found himself in that filament. And once you do that, you understand that our human body is a toroid. It's the aura has X shape, and there is a north pole and south pole. The north is from pole is coming from the crown chakra, and the south is coming from the base chakra. When you are in that field, you are already connected to that filament. That's why the feeling of pressure in the ears, because the electricity are the flow is really high, even though it's not affecting your body yet, because you could get electrocuted. But the way it flows, this is not just type of electricity that it's flowing into the wires where you are conduit between, let's say, AC and the ground, where it's gonna electrocute you. You are simply inside of that flow, which you don't have that discharge, but that electromagnetic field that you find yourself in, it has effect on your body. It can alter your cognition. It can change. It can actually transfer you to a different location within minutes. That's why many people, when they find themselves in that filament, that filament is building connection with something else somewhere else. We call that bridges. Actually, not we. The council is explaining to me that's a bridge. Alongside those Birkeland currents, there is something else. Because of the way they are rotating, something else is happening. 2 points, let's say, from the starting point where the filament originates to the point where it releases this energy is the same point. Surprise, I didn't know that either. So when you walk in, you basically do a few steps and you are like 5 miles away already. So that squishing sound that he was hearing, the grass moving and swooshing, that was actually the electric flow that was following him, since he was already connected to the north pole of that, inside of that filament. Sometimes they split into many, it simply splits into many connections. And one of those, and when you move with that, the filament moves with you, and the electric charges that are in that split ends is going to follow you, and they are affecting anything that contains water, and grass contains water. So when he was running, this thing was swishing with him. When he stopped, this thing stopped as well. And one giveaway is that the grass, he noticed that the grass twisted. That's a big, huge clue. That was electric current, that was Birkeland current going to the ground. Now, when he finally get out of that filament, his ears popped out. That means there was no longer electric flow. There was no more this electromagnetic static that he was in. He was lucky enough that was not strong enough to change his connection in the brain. Neurons didn't rearrange themselves in a different pattern, because once that happened, you can, through those other layers, you can connect to a completely different awareness or state of being, which you are no longer the person that is in the body. You are already somebody else. You are still residing in the physical body, but you are already someone different, and the options are unlimited. You can actually, I'm not going to talk about that right now, because there is a different science behind this, and I might explain that in some other videos.